Today I might have to stop early because a good reason. We're going to Hebron. My family, we're going to go to Hebron to pray at the graves of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It says that all prayers go through Hebron, through Israel. So we're supposed to be going in another 20 minutes. So I might have to cut the class short, which means I'll give the story and the other thing later on today. Here we go. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the two portions of that we're reading this Shabbat and in the daytime of Shabbat and the mincha of Shabbat, the afternoon of Shabbat. In the daytime of Shabbat, we read the Torah portion, which is called going out to war. And in the afternoon, we read one section of next week's Torah portion, which is talking about when you come to the land of Israel. So it seems to be that this is talking about work and payment. The work is going out to war. Like we just finished saying, you have to war with your own egotism, your own selfishness, your own ignorance, going out to war. And the reward is you come to the land of Israel. That's the reward. Let's talk about. So the Rebbe said that's very relevant to us because we're in this world, and the world is a big war. We have to fight against ignorance. We have to fight against our misconceptions, against our destructive urges and our selfish, how do you say, paradigms. And so we're in the war. It's a war. We have to try to put meaning into everything, put godliness into everything. That's what we're in the world. And we got a reward. What's the reward? The world reward is Moshiach. Moshiach will bring all the Jews to the land of Israel, build the holy temple. Says the Rebbe, 1 second. If this is really true, that this is what we're doing in this world is a job, we're working. Who's our boss? God. God is our boss. What's the reward? The payment? The payment is Moshiach. That's the payment. If so, says the Rebbe, we got a big problem. What's the big problem? It says all of the commandments that are in the Torah, somehow or other, God does also. It says Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvot tov, that God makes us holy with His commandments. It says elsewhere that all the commandments in the Torah, God also does. Right? The Jews put on tefillin, God puts on tefillin. The Jews learn Torah, the Jews says we love God, God loves us. We just finished learning. An arousal from below makes an arousal from above. Okay, there's one commandment, though, that God doesn't keep. What is it? There's a commandment that if you have a day worker, unless you stipulate otherwise, if you have a regular worker that works for you, you have to pay him at the end of the day. Biyomo titen scharo. It's a commandment in the Torah that if you have someone who works for you, you have to pay him as soon as he finishes his job. Right? And each day we're working, we're fighting a battle, and we're working. So the Rebbe, first of all, said, okay, that's talking about if we're a worker. A worker you have to pay in the day. But we're not workers, we're servants. A servant does not have to get paid at all. A servant is, so to speak, your property. You're a servant, and the servant has no free will. Because he has no free will, he has to work for you. So therefore, you don't have to pay him. You have to provide all of his needs. You have to, everything that he needs, you have to give, right? You have to give him. He has to be comfortable. It says you have to give him to eat like your own, like what you eat. And you have to clothe him like you. He has to live. The standards of living are just supposed to be like your standards of living, but he's your servant. He has to do whatever you tell him. And you don't have to pay him as such. And we are servants of God. If so, God does not have to pay us. God doesn't have to pay us. So if so, what's this whole business of he's going to give us a reward? That we're working now, Kitate say we're going out to war, and the reward is going to be Moshiach. We're going to get a reward. What does God have to give? Doesn't have to give us any reward. We're servants. If we were serving God from free will, is that okay? But we're not serving from free will, we're servants. It's true, servants can run away. They can shirk the responsibility. But when they come back, we don't give them a reward for it. But we say, okay, we'll start counting the hours from now. We say, what'd you run away for? Right? You're a servant. Get back to work. So essentially, we're servants. We don't have to. We have no free will in the matter. Says the Rebbe. Oh, yes, we do. Why is it we do? Because just like God has free will, we have free will. We're the sons of God. We come from the essence of God. The essence of the Jews is tied up with the essence of God. Just like God does not have to create the world, He doesn't have to do anything. We can't understand why God gave us the Torah, why He creates the world, why. There's all sorts of logical reasons, but those logical reasons do not in any way force God that why does God create the world? Of course, because He wants a dwelling in the lower worlds. What do you mean? He wants who put that nature into God? God is not created by God, some God, but God can do whatever He wants, right? God just decided that He wants a dwelling in the lower world. He just decided. It's not forced. He says, well, the same things with the Jews. The Jews come from God's essence, and because the Jews come from God's essence, so therefore we are workers of our own volition, and we got to get paid. You can demand to get paid. Huh? Maybe you don't know that you come from the essence of God. Maybe you don't even know what it means that you come from the essence of God. I certainly don't know what it means, but the Rebbe is saying that that's the fact. And because we come from the essence of God, so any service that we do for God, we put on tefillin, we do this, is not because we're servants. We do it because we're free entities, free agents. How do they call it? If you want to say it in a way which is, will probably arouse the ire of all of the, how do you say, the normal Jews, we are God. We're part of God. God created us in His image. We're God. So therefore, just as God has total free will and nothing to force us, so we also have totally free will and nothing to force us. So therefore, God has to pay us. If so, okay, I don't understand exactly what that means, but you say we're free agents, yes, and we're working from our own volition, yes. So God has to pay us. It means that God has to pay us on time. So what's going on? Why doesn't God pay us on time? Something was this. Somewhere there's noise over there. I'm going to have to mute. There you go. So God has to pay us on time. Huh? And what's the payment? The payment is Moshiach and Geula. So it should have come a long time ago. God has to pay it. Says, according to this, now we can explain what does it mean that God has to pay us on the day. What does it mean? 1 minute. Here we go. What does it mean that God has to pay us on the time? The cave insisted by means of our doing. The commandments is drawn down, revealing godliness in the world. So it comes down that God is really paying us. Not just every day, like it says at the end of the day, but al yadei kol mitzvah mitzvah. Every time we do a commandment, immediately God gives our payment. True, He puts it in the bank, but He's not putting us in our hands. Of course, we have to believe this. Says the Rebbe, God, every time we do a commandment, pays immediately. But even more, and this is the main thing, that the main reward that we get right now, Soger Bateva, it is put into a chest. It's in a, what do they call it? A trust fund, how do you call it? Nimsa kavar b'baluto shel hapoel. It's in our possession. Kol echad v'echad Yisrael, each and every Jew. Not only that, shebiyada b'reshuto, we have the ability to open up this bank account, all of these blessings that we get from doing the commandments, and we get paid immediately, gets put into our account, spiritual account. We could open up anytime we want to. Anytime you want. By means of how? By means of this, shemosif od mitzvah, add one more commandment. By means of this, says hachriya et atzmo v'et kol olam. This is the language of the Rambam, Maimonides. By means of this, you tilt yourself and the whole world to merit. The goram lo, and you cause the world of salvation. And what's the Rebbe saying? You don't see the results of your commandments, what you do, says the Rebbe. You have no idea how much the world benefits from you doing a commandment. You have no idea. You have no idea how much the world benefits from one prayer, from one good deed, from you refraining from doing a sin. No idea what benefit the world gets. You tilt the whole world on the side of merit, the geula mitit v'shlema, with the true redemption by means of the Moshiach. That's the reward. That's the goal. Sha'az then, that's the destination, you want to call it. Sha'az then, the Amot Mashiach, in the days of the Mashiach, and especially when the dead raise up, will be revealed all of these, the wages that you received. What are the wages? Revelation of godliness in this physical world. Like it says, Nigla Kavod Avaya, there will be revealed the glory of God, and all flesh will see together. So what type of reward do we get when we do a commandment? It's not that you get another zero in your bank account, and it's not that you receive all of a sudden another, what is it, call that you won the lottery, something like that. Not necessarily. I mean, it could be that way, but that's only a result of godliness. There's more meaning in the world. There's more joy in the world. There's more health in the world. Without your commandment, people that could have been sick don't become sick. That could have been criminals, they don't become criminals. The whole atmosphere becomes more clean, clear. People feel more, they say, responsibility to do good. The whole world. And this is your reward. God is giving that every time you do a commandment immediately. There's also Matan Schar Shel Tzadikim. It says, in addition to this, there's also in the future will be the reward of the Tzadikim. It says tomorrow to receive the reward. What is this talking about? You notice that the Rebbe is not talking about heaven over here. He's not talking about heaven. Heaven definitely does exist. It does exist, but it's, in a way, it can be a big distraction. It can be a big distraction. It's like a child, you give him candies to go to school to learn. So if the candies bring him to school, that's good. But if he's always thinking about the candies, then it's a distraction. He can't really learn very well in school. I want another candy. I get another candy. If I don't get a candy, I'm leaving class. We're trying to learn mathematics. We're trying to learn Torah. But okay, Torah, very nice. I want another candy. It's the same thing. A person that's in this world, we're supposed to be here thinking about God. We're supposed to be here thinking about the oneness of God and revealing the oneness. If you're thinking about going to heaven, you're thinking about yourself. It's just a candy. It's not healthy. It takes your mind off of the real topic. So that's what the Rebbe says. The real reward is talking about. One minute. What happened over here? That's right. It says, then there'll be revelation, like it says, Nigla Kavod Avaya, there will be revealed the glory of God, and all flesh will see together. That's a sentence in Isaiah. And that's one of the reasons why it says, it's brought down the Rambam, Maimonides brings it down also, it brings down a pasuk from Jeremiah, that he says over there that the Moshiach will come and show that all of the religions in the world are lies. Why are they lies? Because they're, one main reason is that they're telling you that this world is not good, that the goal is to go to heaven, and that is a lie. It distracts us from the main topic. It's like a candy to get you into school, right? But then afterwards, okay, now learn the topic. If the only thing that'll get you into doing what God wants is that you're going to go to heaven, okay, but grow up, be mature. You're in this world in order to be responsible to God, not that God will give you another candy, he'll give you the world to come. Eventually, all flesh will see God together. To receive their reward, this is the reward from all of our deeds of all the Jewish people. So the argument with us and all the other religions is not which one will get you into heaven. It's not that at all. Is the goal going to heaven, or is the goal this world? Judaism says the goal is this physical world, to make it holy. That's the truth. In all of the generations in the course of this 6,000 years of the world, Kolel, including the reward of the Jewish people in the days of the Moshiach, and especially when the dead will come back and be alive, then will be Avoda, the Limud Torah, B'kiyum Mitzvos, the Tachlis Hashlemos. Then when the dead will raise, then really learning Torah will be the way it should be. It'll only be to add good in the world. Limud Torah, Torah Chadasha Mite Teitze. That's what it means. You'll learn the Torah only to serve the Creator. Gile Panimiyat Torah, the reason for every letter, the reason for every commandment, that's called Sod Tameh V'Tzvonatel, the secret of its reasons and its mysteries. The Torah is part of the world. That's the whole Torah. The Torah is not part of heaven. It says the angels wanted the Torah up in heaven. God said, forget it. I'm giving the Torah in the world because only in the world. Look what it says in the 10 Commandments. Don't kill. Your angels want to kill. Don't be lustful. You have lust. You want to cheat. You want to lie. I'm giving the Torah in this world. This is the biggest secrets of all. Why is not killing such an amazing thing? That's all God cares about. That gives you the 10 Commandments. It should have all these secret, mysterious words, 500-letter words with all sorts of numbers put in there and formulas and things. No, the 10 Commandments, the deepest secrets, above all the secrets of the deepest heavens and other this. What does it say? Don't steal. That's it. That's it. Don't steal. Oh yeah. Honor your mother and father. Oh, come on. I mean, that's what we got out of Egypt for, to honor our mother and father. There's more. Okay, let's hear what do you got more? Keep the Shabbat, right? Don't bear false witness. I don't get it. I mean, where's the spirituality over here? It says the essence of Judaism is bringing the spirituality into this world, but this world is the most important thing. That's what it means. In this world will be revealed by Moshiach the deepest secrets of the Torah. In doing the commandments, in addition to doing the commandments in a complete way with all of your heart. And this also depends on going into the land of Israel. The commandments can't be done unless you're in Israel. Taking it over, settling in the land of Israel, and the building of the third temple. Actually, it says the building of the third temple is going to be before. That's what's going to draw the Jews to Israel. Mitzvot Bikurim, like it says, the commandment of Bikurim. That's next week's Torah portion we learn about the first fruits. This is the completion of doing God's will. Or in a deeper way, something like this is the reward of serving God, is serving God itself. Before it comes to receiving any sort of reward, Moshiach, revelation, but the fact of the matter is serving God itself is the biggest reward. To the degree where it says even more, we learn this in Yom Yom. When Moshiach actually comes and the world gets fixed up, we will long for these days now. What did we just finish learning in Likkutei Torah? That fixing up the natural animal soul is higher than heaven. The source of the natural animal soul, the natural egotistical soul, is higher than even the godly soul. Okay, in one way it is. And the earth, world, and its source is higher than heaven. If so, what we do in this world, it says, it's better 1 second of serving God in this world than all of the worlds to come, even going to the raising of the dead. When we do a command, we have absolutely no idea what we're doing right now. We're attached to the creator of the universe. So what we're talking about is that the serving God, working, and the reward is the same thing. That by means of our serving of the Jewish people, it's not that we get a reward. The ability to serve God, excuse me, that's the biggest reward of all. We're unified with the essence of God. It's not just commandments that God gave 3,000 whatever years ago, and we are still doing them as our heritage. No, God is not, he's not even giving the commandments. The commandments are God. The commandments are God's will. And we're unifying ourselves with God's will when we do a commandment. So the commandment itself, the word commandment means connection. Savta means connection. By means of this, it reveals the essence of God in the world. And so this is relevant to the servant of the Jewish people, the service of the Jewish people before they start to serve, before the creation. Because before God created the world, God was alone. He filled all of the entire world. It says there was nothing except for God. But there was a big novelty. What's the big novelty is that by means of the service of the Jewish people in this physical world, Nasa has revealed the revelation of God in the world. That's called a dwelling in the world. Before God created the world, God was totally one. When God created the world, he also was totally one. Didn't change anything. But there's a world. The Torah says that there's a world. And the world can go against God. And we see that it does a very, efficient job of doing it, of defying God. And it's a big, big novelty if we reveal God in the world. If we reveal God just in ourselves, it's a big novelty. It says that big novelty, that's why God did the whole business. To reveal that it's all one. The oneness of God is not like what we think. That when God is revealed, one, there's no world. It's just a big white, blinding light of bliss and just happiness and maybe a little bit of harp music or something in the background. And that's not so. When God reveals himself, it's going to be exactly the same world as it is now, with the same people, and they have their cars and all the details, and they'll have toes and fingers and eyes and ears, and everyone will be different. And in fact, there'll be more people in the world. There'll be more people in the world. There won't be such a thing as abortions and killing children. There won't be wars. There'll be more people in the world. And there'll be more room in the world for people because there'll be room in everybody's heart for everybody else. More world. And it says that's what it means, that the revelation of God right now is happening when we, by means of the service of the Jewish people, that's what the commandments are in the physical world, is made a revelation of the essence of God in this physical world. And this can be also, and even right, and before you start to serve God, before you do any commandments, the service of the Jewish people, it doesn't begin with now, with right now, after the world was created. But this is matzav future, in the future to come. Shehu kamo mamad umatzav ha'avar, that the future is like what was. In other words, when God created the world, it was already in his mind that there was no past, present, and future. The redemption was already there. What that means, we don't know, but we know that God is good, and this good will be revealed. That's the goal of the world. So it's as though that before the world was created, it was already decided this is what it's going to be. Before the world was created. Therefore, the world was created. That's the reason why the world was created. So if so, will be recognized in the Jewish people, their true identity, who they are, before the soul, before it came down into the world. That's the idea of doing tshuva, returning. What are we returning to? We're returning to our true identity and the oneness of God. But we do it when we're in the world. In a very simple way, we can say the infinite essence of God is revealed only in this physical world. Because the infinite essence of God is not pure oneness, zero. It's all the details of this world. That's the essence of God. And it wasn't revealed till God made the world. And it'll be revealed in this world that God is alone and God fills all being. Shehu Nivra Olam, and all the place where the world was created. By means of this, when we realize that this was already the way it was supposed to be in the beginning, then this will fulfill the creation of the world by means of our deeds to make God a dwelling in the lower worlds. In other words, God is rooting for us. You can do it. Jews, you can do it. I can't do it. So listen, I'm creating you. I'm creating the whole world. I'm creating all these obstacles. I'm creating the whole business, and I'm creating the future. I know what's going to be. You can do it, but you have to do it. I can't do it for you. You got to do it. But I'm telling you, you can do it. Make an effort, and you'll see. Okay, I'll try. As soon as you start trying, all of a sudden you realize you're a different person than what you thought. You were trapped in your own pessimism and your own negativity. You don't realize that God is helping you, helping you infinitely. And the goal is a good one, as we will see, God willing, with the arrival of the Moshiach immediately now. Like I said, I have to go somewhere. So we'll see. Maybe I'll complete this later on when I come back. Meanwhile, let's see if I can stop this. Maybe I can. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's do the Yom Yom. Huh? Do the Yom Yom.